Everyone in Pittsburgh knows that we made steel for decades, and that legacy is still a living part of who we are now. But there aren't a lot of examples left of how all that history was forged. With the Carey blast furnaces, you can literally stand in the shadow of what was once cutting-edge technology. Rivers of Steel offers tours of this important national historic landmark, and they explain how we made iron, introduce you to the people, the workers who made it possible, and share more about the culture that sprang up to support them. Plus, they've got a special spotlight right now on how the Great Migration shaped its workforce. Learn more and book a tour at riversofsteel.com/tours. Hey, Pittsburgh. I don't know about you, but my perfect summer night includes a little art, a little music, and maybe browsing some cute vintage goodies. So I will be checking out the gallery crawl in the Cultural District. It's on Saturday, July 26th from 5:30 to 9 p.m., and it's all totally free. You can swing by new exhibitions at a couple art galleries and shop for gently used clothes and decor at a midsummer market in the backyard at 8th and Penn. There'll be food, there'll be drinks, there'll be live DJs, and if you're up for it, there's even an after party at Wood Street Galleries where Detour will be dropping a new LP. You can find out more about the crawl and snag a ticket to the after party at trustarts.org/crawl. Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, we seem, at least for now, to have broken out of this streak of 90-degree days. And before the weather turns again, I, for one, want to soak up some healthy sun and eat outside. Today, we're giving out superlatives for the best outdoor patios in the city, from the fanciest and the most unusual to, of course, the best food and drink you can find in Pittsburgh. It's Thursday, July 18th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm with Jeremy Jones, aka one half of the wonderful website Discover the Berg. Jeremy, I am so glad we're finally doing this. I feel like we've been running into each other for months, and it's finally happening.
It is finally happening.
So just to give people a sense of your bona fides, you started Discover the Berg in 2015. How many Pittsburgh or like Western Pennsylvania places would you say that you and your wife, Angie, have checked out since that started?
So I don't have an exact count, but I know it's over 1,300 places in Pittsburgh. And that includes attractions, museums, parks, events, green spaces, restaurants, bars, breweries, anything that is like doing something. Food trucks will count that. But yeah, we've done over 1,300 things within about 90 minutes of downtown Pittsburgh.
It really is like one of the most wonderful resources. I feel like I turn to it all the time just for my own personal use.
Thank you.
Today, we're talking about some of the best patios in Pittsburgh because I know you have sampled many over the years. I'm curious in your mind what makes for a good patio. Like, what are the must-haves?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because the term patio is so open-ended.
I know. That's part of why we're doing this, but also you got to set parameters if you're going to call something the best.
Yeah. So like to me, patio is like anything that's like outdoor, to be honest with you. I mean, the three things that I really look for like a good patio would be if it's open air. I don't mind if something's covered, but I want to feel like I'm outside in some capacity. Yeah. The ambience, I want something cool to be looking at, either a vista or there's one that I love that has a waterfall. I don't want to be out.
Not a dumpster.
Yeah, no. I mean, there are some places that I've been to that have had like kind of fenced in backdoor patios that has outdoor seating, but you're just looking at a fence or the trash recycling pickup. And I'll sit out there, but not my thing.
Well, here on CityCast Pittsburgh, our listeners know we love to judge, but also celebrate the best that the Burgh has to offer. So we landed on patio superlatives. Rules to start, these are all purely subjective. It's what Jeremy and I like best. We're going to be authoritative about it. That might be controversial. Many of our choices will probably fit into multiple categories. Jeremy, anything else we should declare before we get started?
Just for on my end, I might be pretty loose with the term patio. Some places might literally just be a picnic chair, like outside somewhere cool. Like for me, I'm all about just being outdoor and like as close to open air as I can. But if you don't agree with that for a patio, well, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, send us your own recommendations. Fight with us in our DMs. We're ready. We're ready to defend our choices.
And if both of us have like glaringly missed something that's like the best patio ever, like I want to know about it because I've been thinking about this all week. And if I forgot something, I didn't do it on purpose. So like, let me know because I want to go see it.
Yeah, 1,000%. Okay, let's jump in. First category, most fancy. Jeremy, what's your pick?
Oh, I mean, I have to go with Pussida's Garden in Lawrenceville. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's one of those business names I've never actually heard out loud as a writer.
Yeah.
Used to writing it. For those who don't know, it's like a fancy Thai restaurant. Have you been there?
Not since they remodeled. They were closed for, over a year. It looks just
almost
stunning
4,
outside. Yeah, it was a long time. But I've heard amazing things.
I'm playing loose with the patio thing because it's more technically a courtyard because they built the restaurant around this beautiful garden space outside, and they only open it really when it's nice weather. So you could get a reservation, and if it's raining, you'll be inside. We've just like shown up some days when it's nice at like or whatever time is that they've opened, and they'll when they open the patio, it doubles their capacity for seating. So sometimes you can get like last minute walk-ins and the overflow might be inside, but we've scored some outdoor seating there. It's just perfect, everything about it.
And a pro tip from producer Sophia Lowe, it's not guaranteed, but if you make a reservation for Pussida's Garden, you can request outdoor seating. It gives you priority, weather permitting, and all of that. One of my favorites, of course, is Revival. Have you been to it? It's in Bellevue.
No, I haven't. It's one of those that's been on my list for a really long time.
Yeah, so it's a fully remodeled space, but in a very, very old building, kind of up on a hill. It's one of those gorgeous old Pittsburgh houses that, of course, was a funeral parlor. I think at least twice in its history. But the owner is the chef, and the space is just so lovely. And they have this little side patio. The food is always great. The menu changes constantly, and they have a bar area where they do specialty cocktails that feels like you're sitting in someone's kitchen in a good way. Like, Ooh. It's just really, really cool.
My best cocktails are when someone's making them for me in their kitchen. I love that.
Right. Next category, best casual place to have a bite. What do you pick?
Ooh, well, Angie and I love breweries, so I could just run through a bunch of patios at breweries.
That's okay. You can have a lot of ties for first place.
Yeah, this might be a recurring theme in this podcast, but I mean, there's places like the East End pop-up that used to be the Roundabout pop-up.
Yeah, that's the one on the bike trail. Yeah. I used to go there all the time when it was Roundabout.
We just went last night. East End's there now. Just watched the river go by. Sly Fox in Southside has just a killer view, which we'll talk about more. Strange Roots has a patio, Grist House, all of those, because you get the food trucks and it's just super laid back.
The Millvale places, yeah.
Yeah. Outside of breweries, I really like Walter's Barbecue in Lawrenceville. That kind of courtyard patio space outside is I would almost argue, maybe even bigger than the indoor restaurant space.
Oh, I think it's way bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see like 150 people outside. It's really hard to get a table because the demand there is nuts, but their barbecue is incredible. I love it.
Great. Yeah, I think I will tack on a couple to the brewery picks. I think Helltown and Grist House both do outdoor spaces really, really well. Helltown in their Strip District location, and they have all kinds of random stuff that they do out there. And then Grist House, they have the two spots now, the one in Millvale and then the other one way north, more like Valencia, Gibsonia area. Mm-hmm. I also love OG East End Brewing. They have kind of a courtyard out there closer to like Larimer or so.
Right. Larimer.
Yeah. For a courtyard, I love Carson Street Deli. So they have like tons of local beer picks that you can have. They're all on tap or in their coolers. But their sandwiches are like second to none. I love them. And then for like an old school pick, I'm going to go like La Prima in the Strip District,
Oh
because you can
yeah.
always get a little table and get a slice of like old school Strip District if you hang out there for very long.
That's a very good point. And I always feel like there's like a core group of like Italian men that hang out there drinking
Oh,
espresso
yeah.
all day, and I just love like soaking all of that in. It's great. I don't think I will ever be able to be privy to those conversations, but it's nice to be like adjunct to it and just like there as part of like, part of the, the strip district's changing so rapidly. It's nice to see something that's like still been around for so long, still
I
crushing
know.
it.
Totally.
If I could add one more now that I'm thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. The Commonplace Coffee in the North Side in the Mexican War Streets is like our go-to coffee shop. It's where we live. There's like a little parklet across the street, and like people just sit
Yeah.
there and drink their coffee and will eat like a pastry there on a nice day. And it's not technically Commonplaces, but I love that it's like kind of a takeover, essentially, quote patio when it's beautiful outside.
No, I hadn't thought about that, like having an adjacent parklet. I'll give it to you. I think it counts.
I mean, I think if I sound confident enough, I think I can make it work.
Do yins ever have a mild panic over everyone who has access to your personal information? Your social security number, your address, your health and financial records. So much important data. Like, I'm not trying to live off the grid, but still, does everyone need my mother's maiden name? Every day, data brokers collect and sell this information to third parties, and then that gets used by scammers, by strangers, even by insurance companies and banks to target you. My strategy has mostly just been to live in denial and pretend that this isn't happening, but then I learned about Incogni. That's INCOGNI. It scrubs your personal information from the web, and it is very simple to use. It only takes 3 minutes to set up, and it tackles more than 180 data brokers and people search sites. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you want to stop stressing about random scammers getting their hands on all of your personal data, sign up for Incogni today. You can use code CityCast, that's all one word, for 55% off the annual plan at incogni.com. That's INCOGNI.com. Okay, most unusual spaces in Pittsburgh. I'll go first this time. I'm going with Kingview Mead in Mount Lebanon. They have this wacky little outdoor space. It's gravel, particularly around like winter and Christmas time, because they deck it out with Christmas trees that are decorated all kinds of fun ways. And I feel like mead and like the meat and the cheese of it all really like hits at that time of year too.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun space. And then Wheelfish Barbecue in Ross Township. It's like if you're on McKnight, it's like kind of beyond the tree line where the Bravo
Right.
kitchen is. They have, again, just like a totally weird space tucked up in there, but really fun. Usually a lot of live music too.
That's the best. Give me music and I'm in. For me, I think if we're talking unusual, Abbey on Butler, they just recently redid their patio space outside.
Oh, it was a huge expansion.
Yeah, former funeral home, the same as Revival that we were just talking about. It's a beautiful space, both inside and outside. I haven't been in a while, but I love that I believe they had like quotes of Bohemian Rhapsody around one of the spaces at the top. And I'm like, this is an old funeral home that is like a modern gastropub with like cool vibes and stuff. It's like, it's hard to get over the fact that you're eating at a funeral home, though.
Right? I mean, a former funeral home. They and Revival have got that in common. But how about we like pivot this to like most historical too, or like, best historical. I feel like Pittsburghers love to, take in a place that maybe isn't what it always was, but has been around a very long time.
I also really love Harmony for the Harmony Inn.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorite restaurants. I used to work in Zelienople, so I would go there all the time. This house, I believe it was built in like the mid 1800s. It's just this beautiful historic building that North Country Brewing took over, I believe, converted it to a German-inspired restaurant. The food's incredible. The beer's incredible. A lot of people like to say that the upstairs is haunted, perhaps.
Is it haunted by the facade of the actual building? Because there's a big mustache painted on it now, and it has like eyeballs where windows are.
Right. Yeah, it's true. I don't know if that's what causes the haunting, but I mean, if I had lived in that house and then they came back and put a mustache on it, I would personally find it cool and not need to haunt it.
If you want to learn more about Harmony, we actually did a guide to it, a neighborhood guide for our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. And there's all kinds of fun history to explore. I'll make sure we put that in our show notes. My pick is probably Cafe at the Frick, which is on the grounds of the Frick Mansion. It's like one of the last remaining mansions of the old Millionaires Row and that part of the East End. Henry Clay Frick, of course, associated with Carnegie and all of the steel making from that era. But the cafe itself is just totally cute.
Yeah, I love it there. It's kind of a hidden gem, even though everyone knows about it.
So let's move through the next few a little bit faster. What about most outdoorsy in Pittsburgh? Because I feel like so many good options these days that are like either river adjacent or like help you feel like you can both take in nature while also eating.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And, I think our rivers are horribly underutilized, so I'm glad that more things are opening up. Sly Fox down in the High Line, they have the best view of the city for a brewery. It's not even close. There's that little walkway on the second level. I'll take my beer and go take the elevator out and go out to that walkway where there's seating. And so far, I haven't been yelled at for taking a beer and a glass out there. But, that's like proper outdoor patio with city views. If nature's more your thing, Cobble House opened up a new location up in, I believe, Mercer, north of the city, about 45 minutes, called Cobble House at the Falls. Their backyard is literally a park with I want to say it's about a 20-foot waterfall. I'm playing loose with the term patio on that one because that's the one that's typically just like picnic tables out, but you're sitting out a waterfall with a beer. I'm going to call it a patio because I love it. I also really love the Farmer X Baker sea container in Aspinwall's Riverfront Park. Trace has been doing some pop-up beer sales there on weekends. Like, again, it's that being on the water.
And there's a Three Rivers Outdoor Company right there, too. And Kayak Pittsburgh is just down the way.
Yeah, you can get a kayak and then come back. And on weekends when they're open, get brunch. Those are my favorites, either, for a view or the nature element.
Yeah, I think mine's going to stick with the Kayak Pittsburgh of it all. I'm going to go with Over the Bar in North Park because they have that really pretty patio. Of course, Over the Bar has their South Side location too. And there actually is technically a teeny little patio space there as well. But the North Park location to me is just unrivaled. And I love like paddleboarding out there with friends and then, coming in for something, a burger or a beer or just to like, kind of rest after having been out on the water.
Yeah, no, that is a beautiful location. We also love going to breweries that are on the bike trails as well. Most of those have outdoor seatings as well. We have a whole guide on our website, in an effort of time to not go down the list of the 10 or 15 that there are.
So a couple categories we'll lump together, most kid-friendly and most pet-friendly. For kid, I'm going the Porch just because it's in Shenley Park. It is next to a library and it's next to a carousel when it's operating, which I don't think you can get any better.
Yeah, I mean, no other place boasts a carousel next door.
I know.
I almost struggled with kid-friendly just because I think Pittsburgh actually is a very kid-friendly place. There's not too many places that are like inherently adults only unless it's like a fancy restaurant or something like that. I've seen kids at all of our breweries, like Allegheny City Brewery. Like last week, we were there during the heat wave and they had like a little kiddie play pool out and like ice pops for kids and they were running around in the misters. So like the one thing I love about like Pittsburgh is like it would almost be easier to do a category of like what's not kid friendly just because there's so much opportunity out there for well-behaved kids to go to not conventional places.
Totally. What about pets, though? I know you have a dog that you have explained in colorful terms in the past.
She's spicy, I think. Allegheny City Brewery, Grist House. Those are like two of the really big ones that have outdoor spaces that are like pretty dog friendly. Kind of like Allegheny City Brewery has like a dog wall on the inside. Like our dog's photos on it. We did the dog wall migration from the old location to the new one. That's a fun place. You'll like almost always see dogs. The one thing that is kind of important to highlight when it comes to dogs is that the county doesn't allow dogs indoors anywhere. So this is a good one for patios, but not every place that has a patio will allow dogs.
That doesn't require you going inside first either.
Correct.
We're bringing it home now. What do you think has the best actual food and drink in the city? Because the space can be incredible, but that doesn't always mean the menu lines up for you every day.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I mean, I'm going to be repeating myself here. Pussidy's Garden for their fancy Thai food, top 10 restaurant for us. Apteka is probably our favorite restaurant in the city, hands down. Vegan Eastern European food. Harmony Inn, great German-inspired gastropub food. For drinks, I would say I love Dancing Gnome, their new-ish location in Sharpsburg. I mean, Dancing Gnome's IPAs are incredible. Outdoor drinking there next to the Blue Sparrow food bus that's permanently there. They make killer pizzas also. And also a new one that we haven't talked about is I adore Mike's Beer Bar on the North Shore. I'm going to be generous in the term patio because it's just tables outside.
Yeah, it's just a couple tables, but it also has it's right next to, PNC Park where the Pirates play.
Yeah, so they are the best bar in the city for Pittsburgh local beer. I think they have 90 taps, 1,000 cans, or some insanely large number, and their selection of local beer is amazing. So couple that with the view of the stadium, and it's a great spot also.
One repeat for me, Revival. Their food is just fantastic. And I'm gonna go with I believe it's Esquina Cantina, which is the new name for Round Corner in Lawrenceville. I really love their food. I think their drinks are really solid. Their courtyard in the back is just really fun vibes all the time. Also, they had such great quarantine measures during the pandemic when they reopened, and it endeared me to them forever. Also, cocktails at Kaya, so dang good.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Jeremy, this has been so much fun. Where can folks find you at?
We're at discovertheberg.com and on most of the major social media outlets at Discover the Berg.
We'll have to have you back to talk about the best of something else here in Pittsburgh. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. We will be posting all of these and more online in the next couple of days, including some reader recommendations for folks with allergies. If you've got a good suggestion, we would love to hear from you. Email us pittsburgh@citycast.fm, subject line best patios. If you're liking the show, please tell someone, rate us, leave us a nice review, do it on Spotify, do it on Apple Podcasts. It really helps folks find us. And make sure you're subscribed to our Hate Pittsburgh newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to you soon. Okay, Jeremy, bonus round breakfast. What do you pick?
I just don't get up early enough for breakfast, so I just roll straight into brunch. I think that Federal Galley's brunch on weekends, their patio, and the selection of food that I just really, really love. And also the porch at Shinley in Oakland.
Yeah, I like both of those. I'm going to go downtown for one of mine. Sally Ann's has just some really tasty breakfast items. Their lunch is also very good. And they have a lot of mocktail spritzer type drinks, which are really nice, especially for early in the day if you're not feeling booze. I also, if we're going to go very extra, love the Grand Concourse and
same.
Sitting outdoors there, because then you can enjoy the grandiose nature of the big indoor space and all those buffets, but then you get to sit outside and watch the river go by. It's very peaceful and nice.